Hello everyone, this is General Hangerdave. Welcome to my war room at Prince George, British Columbia. Today I've got a few things on my plate that I'd like to get to. There's a battle report. I told you in my videos and recent videos in the past that I was playing a game with my friend Panzer King. So we've had a chance to play for a whole weekend again, well for the most part. We don't have all day to play because we have other things we need to do. But so we've got about halfway through the game. Yeah, I guess about halfway through the game. And it's been a pretty interesting game, so I thought I would show you what's going on there. Some of you people who are used to playing Global War will look at that and go, wow, you know, those are some things that I haven't seen, or those are some things that I seldom see. So anyway, I thought it would be interesting to make a battle report. And also, I've got a trip upcoming, and I'm going to tell you about that soon. I'm going to be going and playing some games. And also, well, I'll just do this one first. There is another channel that I came across about a week or so ago. This channel was called The Nest. It's a YouTube channel. And what attracted me to it originally was that they do videos on global war, 1936 to 1945. And there's two people. They're a husband and wife team. They're both ex-military. She is going by the name Viper and he is going by the name Nato. And I noticed when I got home from the lake this morning, and after I got myself settled and started looking at videos on my computer, I noticed that they had changed the name of their channel. It's no longer The Nest, it's called Viper and Nato. So anyway, these guys, you could tell that they have a real passion for this genre of game, and they're not just doing global war. Like, they're using the global war map to do. I think they've done the American Revolution and the 7 Years' War, and so that's what they're doing. They're using the map to do other historical games and using pieces from games like, you know, like sailing ships and things like that. I'm not going to tell you too much about it. What I want you to do is I want you to go check it out, and if you like what you see, then for sure subscribe to their channel. I like to encourage people who obviously have a passion for this type of thing, and these two do. Viper, she seems right at home in front of the camera. She seems to be confident and well spoken. And Nato, he is a history. He studies history and history of war, and so that's why they're going through these other wars as well, not just going through the Global War 36 to 45. It's him exploring his history and going through and, you know, like developing other games and things like that. And I think that they're eventually going to get to World War III, but they're going to go through all the wars leading up to that first, right? But I think they've done a really good job, and like I said, they seem to have a really great passion for it. So I'm going to leave a link in the description box of this video, just down below the video there, and it'll be to Viper and Nato. That's the channel, and so please go there and check them out. So anyway, let's get to the battle report here, this interesting battle report. So let's just take a look up here. Now that doesn't look too strange. It's July of 1940. So it's still pretty early, right? Like, you'd think the Americans are a long ways off, and, you know, like the Spanish War is probably settled, and somebody's obviously got Turkey there. We're playing the Turkey at war. We're not playing too many expansions because this is Panzer King's first game. So, and he's loving it, I tell you. He texted me the other day, wanted to know what size my board was. I'm guessing he's buying his own board. So let's just get to the Spanish Civil War, because that's the first thing that was settled. So he's playing the Axis, and I'm playing the Allies on the Comintern. It's better if you have 3 people, but we only had 2 for this game, so I'm playing the 2 of them. But anyway, the Nationalists won, like in the second turn. It's just like they hit every dice that they had, and the Republicans missed just about every shot that they took. So the Nationalists took Spain really quickly. So that was dispensed with. It 2, maybe 3 turns, but I think it was in the first 2. But the other thing that happened very, very early in the game, if you know how to play the Turkey at War, if you don't, then you can go to my video on Turkey at war. But you try to influence them, and you need to get 4 tokens basically. You need to hit dice 4 times in order to get them to join your side. They hit like bang, 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 bang. Like they had Turkey on their side in the first 2 or 3 turns as well. I think just after Spain finished, that's when they got Turkey. And so Turkey, Turkey, and because of that, also Italy, because if the Axis win the battle for Turkey, then Italy gets to play them, right? So Turkey and Italy have actually been quite a menace down here. And if you would have seen this 1 turn earlier, it would have looked a lot worse. Like Turkey, you can see how much territory they've taken already. They had the Middle East long before the war even started. Like they actually had it up to here and here. They'd taken these 2 places out of India. And then, but I think he kind of made a mistake. Like he was kicking ass, like because all these rolls were going his way. And so he decided to just declare total war. You know, let's have some fun. He's like, you know, and so he brought, like he had declared war on everybody, with everybody. So Italy's at war, Japan's at war, Germany's at war for the Axis, and they're at war, and America's at war. So America's actually had an attack already, and that's only in January of 1940, right? But lots happening in this game. Like in the last turn there, who was it? The Russians came down and attacked Istanbul. And they got it so that everybody was wiped out, but they were wiped out too. But the British had 2 guys sitting here, 2 mountain infantry. And so they walked over with one of them and took out Istanbul. Now, I don't know if we played this right. Like I looked and looked and looked online and everything. And I talked to my friend, Ryan Carcass. And we weren't sure what to do. Like if you remove all of the units on the board for Turkey, and I think that's probably what you were supposed to do. If you know them, please comment on this video and let me know. What we did instead was Italy lost this, or sorry, the Turks lost Istanbul here, and then we took their money and gave it to the bank. I think though that probably what should have happened was that all of the Turkish units should have probably come off the board when that happened, but I don't know. We'll have to find out when I can. And then at the same time as well, the Russians took this territory, which the Turks were able to take back, and then also the British took these territories back. But before that, just Turkey was just running amok in there, right? And they had a lot more units like that. When these guys were finally at war with them, that's when they started attacking Turkey back, because Turkey was just this big mass. Like we were running out of units. I was going to need to paint more Turkish units, right? Because they got Turkey so early in the game, right? They could do whatever they wanted. And then another thing that happened, he sailed a couple of Japanese ships over here really early into the Mediterranean, and so the British Navy. The British Navy is wiped out in there, and so the Italians have Cairo here, and they have the Suez Canal, and that's a really big deal in this game, the Suez Canal. So and really, there's not much the British can do about it just yet. They're going to have to do something about that Navy in there. But the thing is, it's still early in the game, right? Like, I could wait 2, 3, 4 turns and then come down here and take this back with the British. The Americans could come in there and help out if they wanted to, right? So when Germany took out France, that was another thing that went totally in the Axis favor. Like the rolls that you do for Vichy, right? Like you see here, and there's a few free French roundels, but there was only one free French roundel that ended up on a territory that had a point value. So the French only have $1 income. You know, like there's like this one here. That was worth $1. The Vichy got it. This one's worth $1. The Vichy got it. You know what I mean? There's $1. The Vichy got it. And also the boats. Like there's not one French boat on the board. Those are all Vichy boats. Those blue boats right there. And even Germany got a couple of, including the French battleship. When you roll, it either gets scuttled, or it goes Vichy or Free French, or the Germans get it. And the Germans only 11 or 12, and they happen to get two. I can't remember if it was a cruiser. One of them was a battleship anyway, so the British had to expend some units taking that sucker out, right? Otherwise, that was going to be a menace for them. Anyway, it's been really interesting over here in Europe, and I'll take you up to the other side and we'll talk about Germany, like when I can get a little bit closer. Before I go up there, I'll just show you while I'm down here. So there's America over there, but you see this thing right here. This is my marker here, right? This is what I use for markers. That guy there, you see the American flag on that boat there, on that battleship. That's this one right here. That's what's where that battleship is over there. Germany did try to roll for Argentina, and I think they were really close. They rolled a 3. That would have made things even worse for the Allies if they'd have got that. But France, I guess when they decided to put their capital, they put it down here. Like if they'd have put it here with Italy controlling the Med like that, then it would have been easy to take out the French capital again. Not that they would have lost much money, but really, you know. So far, Calcutta's been pretty safe because the Japanese at first concentrated on China here. I better move this up a bit here. They concentrated on China, but the Chinese are holding out pretty good. Like they still got quite a few guys in Yunnan here, and they got some guys up there. So, you look at what Japan's got. They've got a militia down here, a couple of Marines here, a couple of dudes here, and a couple of dudes here, and that's all they have in China, you know. So they went for a big attack with all their guys, and they didn't get it. I think they were attacking Yunnan, and the Chinese won that battle. So that's why there's hardly any Japanese guys left. And so China may have a bit of a reprieve there, and because of that also, then Calcutta's going to be safe. The Japanese had just taken this last turn or two, I believe, and they've come down here and taken out the Dutch islands. There's only this one here that they don't own, which isn't worth anything, and this one here, Java. I guess this one over here they don't own, but that's an Anzac Island, New Guinea. Other than that, Japan has done a pretty good job in here. Got the Anzac subs doing a number. They took out a few boats in here in the last turn. The British also had some subs over here, but their subs did nothing. They attacked these guys here, and they lost both subs, and these guys lost nothing. So that wasn't too good. But Japan's doing okay, but not great, I would say. Like really, when they up there, they came down here with their stuff thinking that there was lots of guys to take China, and so they've got no transports up there, right? All their transports are down here, and if they use these transports to take the guys that are down here up to here, then they leave the islands open down here, right? And Japan has lost a number of ships so far. They did come down here. They took out New Zealand, so the Anzac had to go and get them back. It took a couple of turns to do that because it's hard to do amphibious assaults in this game, right? And so the Americans, this pile of guys here, that's what you see right here. See, like there's the different flag over there, right? On this one here, and that's where this Navy is. It's not often you see an American Navy down here in the Marshall Islands in January of 1940, but that's where they are. This is just a weird game. There's not many boats on here, like the French boats. I don't expect them to move it. The Germans can try to move these along if they want, but they've lost just about all of their navy, so I don't expect them to. The Americans have started this Iowa class battleship here. Let me just show you the difference between that one and regular battleship here. So here, like you can see the size difference between a regular battleship and the Iowa class battleship that I got off of Shapeways. I love those ones because they rather than putting a chip underneath it, I mean you can put a chip under it and that'll work just fine, right? But my goal in this game was to make everything 3D, you know, not have too many chips at all, like, you know, with the shipyards here and the naval bases and all that. I mean, that's really what I was striving for. I don't know where this one belongs. Things got moved out of place here. I'll have to figure that out later. Anyway, nothing has happened here along the border between Japan and Russia, but Russia just entered the war. The Russians were the last one. I remember when I said everybody, the Allied Axis declared war on everybody. They didn't declare war on the Comintern. and the Comintern was still a ways away. So the Comintern has just gone to war now. The Germans just attacked them this turn, and then Russia had one turn since then. So they have not got a chance like that. They took their one turn rather than going after Germany. They went after Turkey down here because Turkey and Italy was just becoming a beast down there. And this is the problem with playing only 2 players. If there were 3 players, then the Russian player might not give a shit that, that Turkey and Italy are making a mess of the Mediterranean down there, right? Like that kind of helps out the Russians. But because the Russians are on my side and I'm the Allies, then I was helping out the Allies. Whereas, you know, like if I was just playing the Russians, then I might ignore them and go after the Germans, which I didn't do. The one thing the Russians did do, though, was they took their fleet and they went after the German fleet, and they did pretty well. The last thing that the Germans lost was a battleship, and I think the last thing that these guys lost was a cruiser or a sub, and they both killed each other at the same time, and that's why there's still 2 German transports left. The Germans have been pretty aggressive coming up north here. They took out Denmark and they took out Norway, as you can see. And I've knocked some of this crap over. Nobody's taken on Finland or Sweden yet. And the Germans have moved into the Baltic states here as well. But they just took out Poland this past turn. The Russians had done a... even when long before they were at war, what they did was they went in and took out Romania. So that gave them an extra $3 and everything, and there was no penalty against them for doing any of that. But I thought that was, like I seen Rank Carcass do it on one of his videos or talk about it or something. So I thought, hey, that'd be a great idea if you were the commenter. Just go in there and take out Romania. Even though you got expensive units doing it, the units that are there, and there's a significant amount of them, if you take those guys down, then take them out, then those are units that the Germans aren't getting, and then they have to expend units coming in to get you, right? And in the meantime, you've got that complex that you can put a Russian or 2 on there before the Germans come after you, perhaps. I mean, you might just force them to come after you right away, which brings your income up to a full income right away. So that was the whole thinking behind that. So let's just get up here a little bit closer. So as you can see, there is almost nothing on, like there in France, there's a couple of Germans and that's it. There's a few in Paris, but in Germany itself, there's hardly anything. Everybody's kind of moved over to the Eastern Front, but there's not much back here. And the British, this turn, came over and they dropped a couple of guys down here, so they got a couple bucks back. And also just to try to draw the Germans back here, right? They're sitting pretty good over here. They've got quite a decent defense, especially when you consider that the only fleet that the Germans have are these 2, and they're certainly not going to attack with only transports. And if they were to buy a bunch of boats, well, that's just going to take away from their land forces if you do that, right? So they're doing pretty good that way. They did have a couple of subs that they went down there and they hunted on that Rio line. You see down here, they took a couple bucks off the Americans there, and but that's the only 2 boats that they have in the water besides the 2 transports. And so Germany's doing pretty good over here. Like they're stocked up pretty good and everything. But you know, like you got to think that perhaps they went to war too soon. Like all the others got drawn into the war too soon. Germany should be a little bit stronger than everybody right now in order to make that big push, right? But I think in the long run, the Allies and the Comintern are going to have an advantage. Although it looks really good for the Axis right now. I just wonder if maybe they started it off a little too quickly. I'll just move this over here, show you what's going on there. And I did show this earlier, but in case you haven't seen the earlier videos, I'll show you what we got going on up here. So those are the weapons. What I do is everybody gets a weapon. You roll at the beginning of the game and you get 1 weapon. And so these are the weapons that people got at the beginning of the game. And Panzer King isn't too interested. He's done a few rolls, but he hasn't spent a whole lot of money on trying to get more. The Russians have managed to get halfway to heavy armor, and the British long-range aircraft and wartime economy, They've been also rolling for improved factories. The Americans have rolled a bunch of dice and they haven't gotten anything yet. They keep missing their dice. So, but they're going to be heavily rolling. This will be the first turn where they have $72, right? Or I think it's around $72. So the Americans have got a lot of money, and they're going to have a lot of money the whole game in order to do all that. Okay, let's just set this camera down. So that's the battle report. I'll just let it sit there so you can see. Okay, so I got one more week left that I'm working, and then I'm going to take a 2-week holiday. I was going to go to Vancouver and play Global 40 with Sneaky Carl and Gargantua and whoever else was going to be there at that game, but that game has been postponed. So I'm not going to do that. And I was also going to see if I could get in on some more games down there, like maybe contact the Hilltop Pillbox and one or two other guys. But I think that maybe I'll, in the interest of saving my money, I'm just not going to go to Vancouver. I am going to go to Calgary and to Edmonton. My dad lives in Calgary, and I haven't seen him in a couple of years. And he's getting really old. I don't know how many times I'm going to get to see him, right? So I'm going to go visit him, and I'm going to go up a couple hours north of Calgary is Edmonton, and going to go and hang out with Rank Carcass and his crew, and we're going to play some Global War 36 to 45. Those are the guys that came and played me a few months back here in Prince George. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, I don't have a solid plan as to when I'm leaving or whatever. Like I don't really care. I'm going to be on holiday, so I could leave 5 days into my holiday or 2 days or whatever. So if you live in Edmonton or Calgary or somewhere in between here or not too far off the path, and you would like me to come and play a game with you at your place, then let me know in the comment section of this video. Say, hey, why don't you stop in here? I live in Calgary, or I don't know, maybe you're in Lethbridge or Red Deer, I don't care. You know, maybe you live in Edmonton and you want to get in on our game with Rank Carcass and I. That game is going to take place on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I don't know what your work schedule is, but that's it's the week after the long weekend, the Labor Day weekend. We're going to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday at his house. So that's the only game I've got set up so far. I'm looking for more games though. If you're living in, like I said, in Alberta or in BC, somewhere that's on my path on the way there, then let me know if you want me to stop by. If you got a couch I could sleep on, that'd be great. And we'll play some games. That'll be fun. Anyway, so that's about all I got for you. I will probably not do another report on this game until it's over and tell you how badly Panzer King beat me. You never know, right? Because the way it looks like one player beat another, and then you add it up and everything, and the point system, and then you realize that you didn't do so well. But anyway, so leave me a comment in the section if you think this is an interesting game, and if you have a game that you want me to play. And also, don't forget to check out Viper and Nato, their channel. They got a really good channel going on there. So check out the link that I post in the description box. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.